Hey, what's up guys? I'm back with another video. This time it's for the Division 2. It's going to be a guide for the Bullet King. I don't see a lot of these because generally the Bullet King's damage kind of lacks because its perk is that you never have to reload. So the damage doesn't feel as good as other LMGs. Um, so I personally love the Bullet King. It's a lot of fun. And this build can get, 23 million DPS pretty easily. Um, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the build. So I do use Gunner. The Gunner specialization is just too good. Um, it goes really well with this. So when you play in a group, you're giving your teammates extra ammo. Um, you get armor on kills. Your armor kits repair 100% armor and grant 30 bonus armor or 30% bonus armor. And the biggest thing is you get the Banshee pulse, which is going to confuse your enemies. Now my tree isn't fully maxed out. I really just had to get the sidearm done, but it's it's really good. So you also generate 10% of total ammo capacity every 60 seconds, and your party members recover 5%. So this build can be used in a party or by yourself. I use it by myself primarily. I have other builds to use with my party. If you want to see those, just let me know down in the comments below, and I'll get them on here as soon as I've kind of tweaked them to make them the way they should be. Okay, so moving on. Barrage talent. Rate of fire increases by 5% on kill for 5 seconds. With the Bullet King, that's fantastic because you never have to reload. So rate of fire, it's great. Pulse resistance, whatever. Not a big deal, but we grab it anyways because, well, why not? That's how these trees work. You basically get everything. Uh, and then emplacement, 15% weapon handling while not moving. Need to be motionless for 1 second. That's gonna help a lot because you're gonna be behind cover a lot. You're gonna end up not moving a lot. And weapon handling for the Bullet King, because it is kind of sporadic, is really helpful. So I take LMG. Obviously, I want the 15% increased LMG damage. And then my secondary weapon is rifle, so I take the 15% increased rifle damage. So with that, it makes it so I can hit long range and medium to short or short to medium range. So Bullet King is your main weapon. You're going to use that as much as you can, but if something's far away, don't be afraid to switch to the rifle. So right now I use Artist Tool. Mine is lacking a little bit in rifle damage and a little bit in accuracy, but its crit hit damage is 17%, and it has perfect rifleman. Landing headshots adds a stack of bonus plus 11% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Max stack is 6. Additional headshots refresh the duration. So on top of that, accuracy and stability on this weapon is pretty solid. Um, this weapon, the damage isn't amazing, but the rate of fire is really good. It has a 40 round mag, and you do more damage the more headshots you get. So this is good for your long range encounters. Um, I do use a medium range sometimes as well, just because it's what I had out probably. I mean, it just depends. Most of the time, I will use the Bullet King though. Like I said, this build is for the Bullet King, but this rifle never hurts. So let's go on to what I mod it with. So I give it +5 crit hit chance and a 3.4 times scope. That scope, it can be used as an actual scope or just like a little zoom in. So as you saw earlier. Uh, then I also go with the +20 rounds and -10% reload speed. Not really worried about reloading this fast because I shouldn't be going through things super quick. What I'm worried about is, killing the enemy within the 40 rounds that I have. So, with that being said, the 20 rounds is helpful. We would only have a 20 round mag if it weren't for this. So, and then I go with the vertical grip. It's 10% accuracy. just to give it that boost of accuracy. It's not, you know, it's not the greatest accuracy, but still, it's a boost of accuracy. You have the stability already, and your reload time is only 2.4 seconds with a 40 round mag. It's just the way I've found to build this weapon mod wise. It seems to work really well, and you don't have to build it this way. If you find a better way, that's perfectly fine. But this is just how I do it. So let's move on. I use the Coyote's mask. Weapon damage is max. I have crit hit chance on it, crit hit damage, and another crit hit chance mod. So I'm trying to get to about 55% crit hit chance. 50% is good too. You don't have to get to the 56% if you want to change some mods out for crit hit damage instead of crit hit chance. My crit hit damage right now is 61.6%, crit hit chance 56.8. So you can change some mods around to kind of get it the way you want it. Then the Coyote's mask, it has pack instinct. You and all allies gain a bonus based on the distance of the last enemy you hit. So if it's a short distance, it's plus 25% crit hit damage. If it's a medium distance, 10% crit hit damage and 10% crit hit chance. If it's a long distance, 25% crit hit chance. So this applies to both your rifle and the Bullet King. So no matter what, you're going to be getting this bonus. One of these bonuses you will be getting. Ideally, you want to be probably in the mid-range, because getting an extra 10% on both of those is, is really good. And, with that being said, you could change mods around, get yourself down to 50%, and then, this could put you up to 60%. For what I've heard, 60% is the max, or is the cap for crit hit chance. So you could actually lose a little bit of crit hit chance and be just fine. Moving on from the Coyote's mask, we use the sacrifice. Now, you don't have to use the sacrifice. If you're not comfortable with glass cannon, you're going to look for something with obliterate. Crit hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 15 times. So that is really good. Obliterate is very good, but it's not going to compare to perfect glass cannon, which is amplifying your damage by 30%. But you are going to be taking 60% more damage. So use what you're comfortable with. I would say either go glass cannon with sacrifice, so it would be perfect glass cannon, or you can go obliterate on something else. But the most important part is the stats. So your weapon damage, you should try to find a sacrifice with maxed weapon damage. As you can see, I don't have that yet. Weapon handling is good to have on this because, like I said, the Bullet King is pretty sporadic, and you never have to stop firing it. So weapon handling, it's pretty important. So if you can find one with max, great. If not, don't worry about it. And then max crit hit chance. That's what I use on mine. And I also put a mod for crit hit chance, which I may actually end up switching out for crit hit damage. So let's move on to the holster. So the holster is a Seska Veroba holster. So the set piece bonus is giving 10% crit hit chance. Your core attribute is weapon damage. If you can find one with maxed, grab it. The second your attributes, not core. You don't really want the skill haste. That's what I have right now. But you're gonna want crit hit chance or weapon handling or crit hit damage, which you should already have though. So you want crit hit damage in there for sure. That's one of them. That's guaranteed. The other choice I would say is either crit hit chance or weapon handling. Those are going to be your best options. So that's what you're looking for, is a Seska holster with one of those. Or I guess all three of those. So weapon damage, crit hit chance, or weapon handling and crit hit damage. Okay, and then your backpack. This is a pretty good one. So we use Providence Defense because it's also the same as the Sacrifice, and with 2-piece, it gives us 10% headshot damage and 10% crit hit chance. So obviously you want max weapon damage. I don't have it, but that's what you want. I have crit hit chance on here. Again, you want it max. I don't have it. Still what you want. And I have weapon handling. And then I have a mod for crit hit damage. The goal is for all of this to be maxed. Anything you see that is not maxed in here, and I go over, you'll want it maxed. The talent I use is Composure. While in cover, increases total weapon damage by 15%. So you're going to be in cover most of the time. So you'll be getting a 15% weapon damage increased. So this backpack, it doesn't necessarily have to be Providence Defense. If you find something better, go for it. But I use it for the extra crit hit chance and Composure. Composure is a really good talent. You are looking for a backpack with Composure on it. So moving away from the backpack, the gloves. I use Contractor's gloves. My Contractor's gloves, they're Petrov obviously because that's the Contractor's gloves. So it gives you LMG damage. Petrov goes great with this. You could get another Petrov somewhere if you wanted instead of like Seska or Providence, but I feel the crit hit chance is better than the weapon handling in this case. So, with that, the Contractor's gloves, they're the only gloves in the game with a damage to armor, and they are max, 11%. So that's part of why I use it. I think that's part of why most builds use it. Weapon damage, you want that maxed. Crit hit chance, it doesn't necessarily have to be maxed, but you want either crit hit chance or crit hit damage. With you using the Coyote's mask, you can change some things around here and there. I would change mods more than I'd change stats, just because it's a bit easier. Okay, so Contractor's gloves, super important. And then we use Fox's Prayer. It gives us 10% rifle damage, which is nice for our rifle. This isn't why we use it though. So we use it for the damage to target out of cover. A lot of the time your targets are out of cover, especially if you're using the Banshee or the Banshee pulse. So you knock them out of cover with that pulse. So this is why you use the kneepads, because you're getting 15% more damage to those people. You want the weapon damage to be maxed, which I don't have, and you want weapon handling, which mine is maxed, but that is what you're looking for the Fox's Prayer. It's I think it's used in a lot of builds because of the damage to target out of cover. They are the only knee pads with that trait. So that's what you're looking for. You want a good Fox's Prayer, a good Contractor's gloves, a good backpack with Composure. I prefer Providence Defense. Right? Yeah, Providence Defense. Because you're already using the Sacrifice. You want a good Sacrifice. Mine's pretty good, but there is better. In fact, I can even make mine better than it is right now. So you want your weapon damage maxed on everything. That's the main thing. But you do want Perfect Glass Cannon or Obliterate on the chest, and you do want Composure on the backpack. And then the Coyote's mask, even if you don't have a good one, I would still use this because of the talent. The talent's just too good to pass up, and it's too helpful. And then you want the Seska holster for the crit hit chance. So let's move on to the skills that I use. I use the Reviver Hive. That's a basic thing that most people use. If you're in a group, you don't necessarily have to use this. Instead, you could go with the Restorer Hive. It's gonna help. It'll help your group. It won't just help you. But if you're by yourself, the Reviver Hive is the way to go, because you're gonna die at some point. It's gonna happen. I mean, let's be real here. We're not perfect players at this game or anything. So I do use the Reviver Hive, but you can use the Restorer Hive. So right now the mods I use, I actually don't need damage. It's just in here because I had it. I'm going to switch it because I did not realize I had a revived armor one. So you're looking for revived armor mod. That's going to be your most important mod. And then for the other slot, you could use health. I mean, what slot is this? It's the system slot. System slot, health is fine. I mean, it's not going to hurt it. It doesn't help much, but it doesn't hurt it. So if you find a better mod for there, use it. Health is just because you have it, and it's probably the most common one. And then we use cooling vents. This is more for the healing hive, because I do play in a group a lot, so I just kind of keep this on. But yeah, you switch between the healing hive and the reviver hive. Reviver for solo, healing for group. In a group, I don't know if they fixed it yet, but the reviver hive had a bug where you couldn't be revived if something happened to your hive. So that's why I wasn't using it in a group. If they fixed it, great, go ahead and use the reviver in a group. And then my secondary is the pulse, and I use the Banshee pulse. That's why I use gunner, because it'll disorientate the target. That is too useful and knocks them out of cover, and they're not going to be shooting at you. So it gives you a chance to just destroy them with the Bullet King. And then I actually now have something to put in here. Fantastic. Oh, let's put that on. Okay, cool. So we're going to use the 8% radius. That's on the gunner. The gunner specialization. So 8% radius is really good. It's going to make it go further, more in a circle, I guess. I'm not sure why it's good for the cone, but it makes sense that it would be, considering you get it from the gunner specialization. So I did not have a mod slot until now. Not in there. I did not have one slotted, but I just saw that there was something. So that's good. You could use 8% radius from the gunner, or if you find one better, like apparently I have, 9.4%. Or you could use cone size. I assume the cone size might be better than the radius, but I'm not sure. If you find out it is, just let me know. Actually, yeah, I don't know why the radius would be any better. Like, that seems weird to me. But either way, cone size or radius, those are the ones that you want here. Charge speed wouldn't be bad either, because it's going to charge up faster, get to a longer range faster. But it's less of the worries. You want it to hit more of an area. That's your main thing. So for the next mod, I use effect duration. So if we switch to, say, health, it takes away 0.6 seconds. Or sorry, 0.9 seconds of duration. You want the disorientate to last as long as possible. Yeah, that doesn't affect much. Okay. Yeah, that's I don't know. I'm not sure what the duration is at this point. I assumed it was for the confusion. It doesn't look like it does anything for the confusion. I guess it's like how long you can charge it in this case. So like, say you start the charge and there's enemies moving towards you, you have 10.9 seconds for them to get in range. That's what it would be. So you can use different mods, just use what you think is best, but you should be using the Banshee Pulse and the Reviver Hive or the Restorer Hive, just depending if you're solo or in a group. The Banshee Pulse is great in a group and by yourself. It's it's going to help your group, it's going to help you, so I would just stick with that. If you decide to use something else, that's perfectly fine. Just just give everything a shot. Use what you find fun. The skills are probably one of the more they're probably the least important thing in this build. They're just good. I found these to have the most success with this build. So it's up to you. You can change whatever you want. Just, Bullet King's your main thing. And as for the gear, again, you can change the sets, but you don't want to change like the perks. You don't want to change the crit hit chance, crit hit damage, weapon handling. You want all that stuff. You want the contractor's gloves, you want Fox's prayer, and you want, in my opinion, you want perfect glass cannon. So the sacrifice is just too good to pass up. But again, you could use obliterate. If you are not comfortable with glass cannon, use obliterate. If you think you will do better with it, nothing wrong with that. But your main weapon, Bullet King. I have a pretty crappy Bullet King right now. So you're going to want a good Bullet King. But even with my pretty crappy one, I still melt things. I still pull 23 million DPS in the shooting range. This build is a fun build. It works really well, both solo and in a group. I really enjoy this build, and I hope you guys do too. With that being said, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. And I'll see you next time. I work hard,